Welcome to Starbound Valor HFY. Subscribe now and dive into daily epic sci-fi adventures where humanity always rises. The research station Eclipse Point floated silently above the edge of the dark energy rift, its metal walls shaking every few minutes as invisible waves passed through space. The galaxy had always feared dark energy. Every species called it cursed, untouchable, or alive. But humans were different. They believed they could understand it. They believed they could use it. And now the biggest experiment in history was about to begin. Dr. Raylan Ward walked through the long silver corridor, his steps echoing behind him. He was calm from the outside, but his heart carried a storm. This experiment meant everything. Years of work. Years of warnings. Years of arguments with alien scientists who believed humans were taking a dangerous risk. As Raylan reached the control chamber, dozens of scientists, both human and alien, were already waiting. Some had glowing eyes, some had insect legs, some belonged to species older than human history itself. But in that room, they were all researchers chasing the same mystery. The chamber looked like a giant circle with a huge transparent window open toward the swirling dark energy rift outside. The rift looked like a sea of black fire, moving slowly, sending out strange waves that made the window tremble. In the center of the chamber stood the dark core engine, a machine taller than a house and sharp like a metal spine. Its job was simple but terrifying: pull controlled dark energy into a chamber and turn it into power. The first step toward a new age. Or perhaps the last step before disaster. The chief alien scientist, Valtor, raised his four long arms and spoke in a cold voice. All species present must understand that dark energy is unpredictable. If the humans are wrong, this station will not survive. Raylan did not look away. If we are right, the entire galaxy will change. The chamber fell silent. There was no turning back. Raylan gave the final command. Activate the dark core. The lights dimmed. The floor vibrated. The machine began to hum, deep and heavy, like some ancient beast awakening after a long sleep. Through the window, the rift opened wider, twisting like a living shadow responding to a call only it could hear. Data screens lit up in bright colors. Alien scientists shouted readings. Human engineers typed rapidly. The hum grew louder. A cold wind filled the room, even though the station was sealed tight. Something was entering. Something that did not belong to normal space. The sensors went wild. Dark energy levels rising beyond calculated limits, someone shouted. Stabilize the core. Raylan ordered, but the machine was no longer listening. The dark core began to glow with a deep purple light. Every hair on every human's body stood up. The alien stepped back in fear. Then the alarm screamed. Red lights flashed everywhere. The station AI shouted in a metallic voice, warning. Dark energy breach detected. Shield failure in progress. Valtor ran toward the shutdown panel. Turn it off. Shut everything down now. But before he reached it, an explosion of silent light burst from the machine. There was no sound, only a wave of cold, deep, shaking every wall of the station. It ran through every living creature like an unseen shock. Aliens fell instantly, collapsing to the floor, screaming or going silent. Their skin turned pale. Their eyes rolled back. Their bodies could not take the force. But the humans remained standing. Shaken. Confused. But alive. Raylan looked around in horror. What just happened? One of the engineers whispered, Why are only humans still conscious? No one had an answer. But the room began to change. Machines around the humans flickered as if reacting to them. Their breath left faint trails of purple mist. Their heartbeat synced with the slow pulse of the rift outside. Something had touched them. Something had chosen them. Outside the window, the rift pulsed like a giant eye opening. The station shook again, harder this time. Metal groaned. Lights flickered. Communication panels died one by one. The main screen displayed only one message: signal lost, galactic network offline. They were cut off. Trapped with something that had just changed them forever. Raylan stepped toward the window and stared into the swirling darkness. For a moment, just one, the rift seemed to whisper. He could not hear words, but he felt meaning. A message. A call. Behind him, the unconscious alien scientists lay in rows across the floor, as if they had been rejected by the energy itself. Only humans had survived the touch. Only humans remained awake. Only humans were chosen. And deep in the rift, something pulsed again, as if waiting for them to respond. The silence inside Eclipse Point felt heavier than the metal walls around it, as if the dark energy itself was holding its breath and watching the humans who had survived. Dr. Raylan Ward stood in the middle of the control chamber, surrounded by unconscious alien scientists, their bodies still shaking lightly from the shockwave. The humans who remained standing looked at each other with fear in their eyes, fear not from pain but from the unknown. Something inside them felt different. Something new was awake. Raylan's breathing was slow, but he could feel his heartbeat echoing not just inside his chest, but inside the room as well, like the station itself was following his rhythm. The purple glow that had filled the chamber was gone, yet a faint shimmer still wrapped around the humans like invisible smoke. The engineer Lyra touched her face and gasped softly. My skin, it feels warm, like energy is moving under it. Raylan saw it too, tiny dim pulses of purple light under the skin of her arms. Another human scientist, Malik, raised his hand to speak, but something strange happened. A nearby metal tool on the table slid toward him without anyone touching it. Malik froze, staring at the tool now resting against his fingers. Did I do that? The room remained silent for a long moment. No one had the courage to answer. Outside the huge window, the dark energy rift pulsed slowly like a giant heart in the void. Each pulse sent a small vibration through the station, and with every vibration, the humans could feel something pulling at their minds, not controlling, but calling. Raylan forced himself to focus. Everyone, check your vitals. Stay calm. We need to understand what's happening to us. But calmness was impossible. When the humans tried to use the broken control panels, the screens flickered and glowed brighter whenever their hands came close. As if the station recognized them in a new way. Raylan ran a hand through his hair, thinking fast. This isn't random. The dark energy reacted differently to us. It didn't kill us like it killed them. Malik looked down at the unconscious alien forms on the floor. We should help them. Lyra bent to check their pulses, but she flinched. Raylan, their bodies feel cold. Like their energy was drained. Raylan felt a chill crawl down his spine. He stared at the machines, the dark rift, the glowing humans. Nothing made sense. Why only humans? He whispered. The question hung in the air like a blade. No one wanted to guess the answer. Suddenly the lights flickered again, but this time the station AI activated. Its voice sounded broken, like words were crashing into each other. Warning, systems failing, unidentified resonance detected, adjusting. The AI fell silent, then spoke again, but in a completely different tone, calmer, almost warm. Human biometrics detected. System connection restored. The human stared at the ceiling speakers in shock. The station AI had never spoken like that before. Raylan stepped forward. AI, what changed? Why are you responding only to us? The AI paused, as if choosing its words carefully. Dark energy exposure has altered human neural patterns. Your minds now emit a frequency that matches external rift signals. Non-human life forms do not share this pattern. Only humans can interface with station systems. Malik whispered, so we're linked to the rift now? The AI replied immediately. Correct. The humans exchanged fearful glances. Their bodies felt strange, but now they understood the reason. They had become compatible with something the galaxy never understood. Something alive. Lyra rubbed her temples. I keep seeing things. Flashes of light. shapes moving inside the rift. Raylan turned to her sharply. Visions? She nodded shakily. Like it's trying to show me something. At that exact moment, all humans felt a sudden wave rush through their minds. No pain, only a deep hum, like a distant voice calling their names. Images flashed inside their heads, a tunnel of dark light, stars collapsing, giant shapes moving in the void, and a doorway made of energy. Then the vision ended. Everyone stumbled back, gasping. Malik grabbed the wall for support. What was that? Raylan's voice was low. A message. Lyra shook her head. But from who? Raylan looked at the rift again, and for one terrifying moment, he saw something move inside it, not a shape, not a creature, but a presence. Watching. Waiting. Understanding. The humans' hearts beat faster, and the station shook again, lights flashing purple for a single second. Raylan felt the hum inside his mind grow stronger, like a whisper brushing against his thoughts. It wants us to come closer, he said quietly. It wants us to understand it. Malik stepped back, terrified. Why us? Why only humans? Raylan didn't answer. Because he didn't know. But deep inside his chest, he felt a truth he didn't want to believe. This wasn't an accident. The energy hadn't just touched them. It had chosen them. And choices like this were never safe. Outside the window, the rift pulsed again. And this time, it felt like it was breathing. For almost an hour, the humans on Eclipse Point tried to understand the strange new connection they felt with the dark energy rift, but before they could make sense of anything, the station's long-range sensors activated on their own. A loud metallic beep echoed through the chamber, and the AI spoke in a tense tone. Incoming vessel detected, identification unknown, matching signatures to Galactic Council military class. Raylan froze, his eyes widening with fear and frustration. Of course the Council would come. The explosion of dark energy, the sudden silence from the station, all of it must have triggered emergency alerts across the galaxy. Malik rushed to the window and looked out into the deep black, just as a massive shadow broke through hyperspace, unfolding like a giant steel predator. The alien rescue ship was enormous, built with thick armor plates and glowing blue thrusters that hummed like a swarm of angry insects. It was meant to help survivors, but Raylan knew better. The Council feared dark energy. They feared anything they didn't understand. And when they saw only humans alive, they would not assume anyone was safe. As the ship approached, bright lights flashed across its hull, scanning the station. The humans stood together near the window, the unconscious aliens still lying around them, making the scene look worse, almost as if humans had caused their collapse. Raylan felt a knot tighten in his chest. They're going to think we're dangerous, he whispered. Lyra swallowed hard. We don't even know what happened to us. How do we explain something we don't understand? The AI interrupted, docking clamps activated. External hatch opening. Multiple life forms entering the station. Heavy footsteps echoed down the metal corridors, fast, disciplined, military. The sound of weapons charging filled the air. Raylan raised his hands calmly. Everyone stay close. Don't make sudden moves. But the dark energy humming inside their bodies made it hard to feel calm. The door to the chamber hissed open, and 10 armored alien soldiers marched inside, their armor black and reflective like obsidian. Their leader, a tall alien with 4 glowing blue eyes and sharp bone ridges across his head, stepped forward. His voice was cold and commanding. All humans, stand where you are. Do not move. Raylan felt irritation rise, but he kept his voice steady. We're survivors. The station suffered an energy breach. We can explain, the alien commander cut him off sharply. We see what happened. He pointed at the unconscious alien scientists. You humans stand unharmed while every other species lies dying. Explain that. Malik stepped forward, hands raised. We don't know why this happened. The dark energy, it reacted to us. The commander's eyes narrowed. Exactly. And that makes you a threat. One of the soldiers aimed a charged weapon directly at Malik's chest. Lyra gasped. "We're not dangerous." But at that moment, something inside Malik snapped. His fear mixed with the strange energy running through him. A pulse of purple light flickered across his skin. The soldiers saw it and instantly shouted warnings. Energy surge. Hostile action detected. The commander raised his arm, signaling the attack, but before he could order anything, a sudden invisible wave burst out from Malik. It wasn't strong enough to blast anyone across the room, but it hit like a shock of air, rippling across the chamber. Metal tools rattled. Loose wires sparked. The soldier's armor flickered. And the weapon aimed at Malik flew out of the soldier's hands and skidded across the floor. Malik stared at his own hands in horror. I didn't mean to do that," the soldiers panicked. They backed away fast, weapons shifting to full power. "Humans have been altered by the rift," one shouted. "They're unstable." The commander glared at Raylan, his voice full of accusation. "You are no longer normal. You are corrupted by dark energy. For the safety of the galaxy, we must take all humans into custody." Raylan took a step forward, but a soldier immediately pointed a weapon at his head. "We are not your enemies," Raylan said firmly. "If you attack us, you will make this worse. The energy responds to our emotions. You saw what happened." The commander hesitated. He had seen it. He had felt it. But his fear of dark energy was stronger than his logic. "Restrain them," he ordered. The soldiers moved in. Lyra grabbed Raylan's arm. "What do we do?" He whispered back, "We can't let them take us. They don't understand what we've become." Malik looked terrified. "Raylan, I can feel it again. The energy, it's building inside me." Raylan made a fast decision. "We run." The alien soldiers lunged forward at the same moment the humans turned and sprinted through the side exit, slipping into the dimly lit service corridors of the station. The commander shouted, "Stop them. They must not escape." Alarms blared as the station lit up red once more. Soldiers charged after them, weapons glowing. The humans ran deeper into the damaged parts of Eclipse Point, their hearts pounding, the dark energy inside them humming like a second heartbeat. And far behind them, the rift pulsed slowly, as though amused. Its chosen hosts were on the run now, but this was only the beginning. The humans ran deeper into the dark corridors of Eclipse Point, their footsteps echoing through the metal halls as alarms screamed behind them. Red warning lights flashed like angry eyes, guiding the alien soldiers who chased them through the station. Raylan's breath was heavy, but his mind was sharp. He knew this part of the station, and used research zones, damaged tunnels, old cargo rooms. Places the rescue team would avoid. The air grew colder the deeper they went, as if the dark energy from the rift was leaking into the metal walls. Lyra kept glancing over her shoulder, her voice trembling. "They won't stop, Raylan. They think we're monsters now." Malik held his hands tight against his body, afraid the strange energy inside him would explode again. "We should stop and talk to them," he said, but even he didn't sound convinced. Raylan shook his head. "They're afraid. Fear makes people dangerous. If they take us, they won't try to understand us, they'll try to destroy us." As they moved farther, the lights above them flickered and glowed with a faint purple tint. The station AI spoke softly from the wall speakers, its tone strangely calm. "Warning, hostile units approaching. Suggested route updated." A map flickered on a broken screen, showing a path deeper into the abandoned wing. Raylan frowned. "Why are you helping us?" The AI answered simply, "Your neural frequency matches dark energy resonance. You are now primary authorized users." Lyra whispered, "So the station listens to us now?" Raylan nodded grimly. "Yes. And that scares the council even more." They followed the route into a long hallway filled with hanging wires and broken panels. Sparks fell like tiny stars. The place had been untouched since the station was built. As they reached the end of the corridor, the rift pulsed outside the broken window panels, its deep purple glow filling the hallway like a ghostly sunrise. Malik stopped suddenly, holding his head. "Do you hear that?" Raylan paused. "Hear what?" Malik's voice trembled. "A sound, like a soft whisper, calling my name." Lyra grabbed his arm. "Don't follow it." But Malik shook his head. "I'm not following it. It's following me." Before Raylan could respond, a loud metallic thud echoed behind them. The soldiers were getting close. Raylan motioned quickly. "Move. We can't let them trap us." They slipped through a side door into a large maintenance bay full of old cargo crates and disconnected machines. The purple glow from the rift seeped through the cracks of the walls, painting everything in a strange light. Raylan stopped behind a tall crate, catching his breath. "We need a plan. We can't run forever." Lyra nodded, her voice shaking. "Our bodies are changing. Our minds are changing. What if we lose control?" Malik shut his eyes tightly. "When I used the energy before, it wasn't anger. It was instinct. It acted to protect me." Raylan placed a hand on Malik's shoulder. "We need to understand this power before someone gets hurt." The station trembled suddenly, and a cold wind swept through the room even though it was sealed. The purple glow outside brightened. Malik shivered. "It's reacting to us again." Raylan turned toward the window. "No, it's warning us." A moment later, the wall exploded inward as alien soldiers blasted through with heavy weapons. "There they are. Do not let them escape." The humans ducked behind the crates as beams of blue light shot across the room. Raylan felt the energy in his chest build again, like a heartbeat out of rhythm. His body felt lighter, faster. The world seemed clearer. Lyra yelled over the noise, "Raylan! The energy! It's reacting to fear." Raylan forced himself to breathe slowly. "Calm down. Control it." But when a soldier fired directly at Lyra, she screamed, and then something impossible happened. A shimmering shield of dark purple light burst from her hands, blocking the shot. The beam hit the shield, spread like liquid across its surface, and vanished. The room fell silent for 1 second. Even the soldiers froze. Lyra stared at her glowing hands in shock. I didn't mean to do that." Raylan whispered, "You protected us." The soldiers recovered quickly. "They are unstable. They are weapons. Capture or neutralize." Malik stepped forward, shaking with fear. "Stop. We don't want to fight." But the energy inside him surged again, building like pressure in a storm. Raylan held his arm. "Malik, control it." Malik gasped. "I'm trying," but the energy exploded outward in a wave that knocked 3 soldiers off their feet. The lights flickered. The floor shook. The rift outside pulsed violently, as if celebrating. The lead soldier struggled to stand. "This is why we must stop you." Raylan's voice was sharp. "You don't understand. We didn't choose this." But the soldier raised his weapon again. Raylan felt a surge of anger, fear, and determination mix inside him. The energy responded instantly. The air around him vibrated, glowing faintly with dark light. The soldiers stepped back, unsure. The commander shouted from behind them, "Fall back. We regroup. They are becoming stronger." The soldiers retreated, sealing the door behind them. In the sudden silence, Raylan looked at the humans with him. "We can't stay here. They're afraid. They'll bring more firepower." Malik nodded weakly. "Where do we go?" Raylan looked at the glowing rift outside, pulsing like a living heart. "The only place left," he said quietly. "The rift is calling us. And I think it knows why we survived." Behind them, the walls groaned as the station shifted once more, and the purple glow deepened, as if the rift was waiting for its chosen. Raylan led the group deeper into the abandoned research wing, every step taking them closer to the rift's pulsing glow. The air grew heavy, thick with a strange warmth that felt like invisible hands brushing against their skin. The deeper they went, the more the walls vibrated with a low hum, like a heartbeat hidden inside the metal. Malik walked slowly, holding his head as more whispers echoed in his mind. Lyra kept touching the glowing marks beneath her skin, trying to understand the strange new patterns of light. Raylan kept his eyes sharp, scanning every corner, not just for soldiers but for the truth hiding in the shadows. At the end of the hallway, they found an old sealed door marked with a symbol none of them had seen before, a spiral surrounded by 3 broken circles. "This wasn't on any station map," Lyra whispered. Raylan pressed his hand to the panel, expecting it to stay locked, but instead, the door opened instantly, reacting to the dark energy inside him. Behind it lay a room filled with dust, old screens, and forgotten equipment. But one object stood in the center, a black triangular console glowing faintly with ancient patterns. As they entered, the air changed. It felt older, heavier, almost sacred. Malik whispered, "This place, it's not normal." Raylan approached the console and brushed off the dust. The screen flickered awake, and to their shock, a recorded hologram appeared, a human woman with silver hair and tired eyes. "This is Dr. Kayla Thorne," the hologram said. "Lead scientist of Project Veil." The humans froze. Dr. Thorne had disappeared before Raylan was even born. Her project was classified. Raylan stepped closer. "What is Project Veil?" The hologram continued. "If you are watching this, then the rift has awakened again, and the same mistake has happened." Malik's eyes widened. "Again? What does she mean again?" The hologram showed recordings, past experiments, failed attempts to understand the rift, scientists collapsing, entire labs darkened. Dr. Thorne's voice shook. "Dark energy is not a power source. It is not a weapon. It is alive. It is a species older than our galaxy." Lyra's breath caught. "Alive?" "Yes," the hologram continued. "And it chooses who can survive its touch. Humans, for some reason, are compatible. Our neural frequency matches the energy's natural resonance. Other species collapse because their minds cannot handle the connection." Malik stepped back, horrified. "So the rift picked us?" The hologram nodded. "Yes. Humans are the only ones who can interact with dark energy without dying. But that does not make us safe. The energy has purpose. It wants something." Raylan felt the hairs on his arms rise. "What does it want?" The hologram showed a new image, a star collapsing, forming a rift that looked exactly like the one outside. "The rift is a doorway," Dr. Thorne said. "A gate built by an ancient civilization. A civilization that lived inside dark energy. Their universe is dying. They need a new home." Lyra whispered, "And they're using us to open the door." "Yes," Dr. Thorne answered. "Human minds are the key. When enough of us are connected, the rift can fully open. But once open, we do not know what will come through." The hologram flickered, her face growing more desperate. "We tried to warn the council. They did not listen. They feared the rift and destroyed our work. But the energy cannot be destroyed. It waits. It watches. It chooses. And now, it has chosen you." The hologram vanished, leaving a cold silence behind. The group stood frozen, their hearts pounding with the weight of the truth. Malik finally spoke, his voice shaking. "So, we're tools? Keys for something waiting to enter our universe?" Raylan shook his head slowly. "Not tools. Hosts." Lyra stepped back, fear filling her eyes. "Raylan, this is too big. If the council finds out, they'll kill us," Raylan finished. "Not just because we're dangerous, but because they think we'll open the door." Malik covered his face with his hands. "Raylan, what if they're right? What if we already started opening it?" Outside, the rift pulsed again, brighter and stronger than ever before. The walls hummed. The lights flickered. A cold wind swept through the room even though it was sealed. Raylan felt the whisper inside his mind again, this time louder, clearer, almost forming words. Lyra grabbed his arm. Raylan? What is it saying? He stared at the glowing rift beyond the wall, shock filling his face. It's telling us to come closer. Malik stepped back. No, Raylan, don't listen. But Raylan already understood. The rift wasn't just calling him. It was calling all of them. Calling its chosen. The floor trembled violently as the soldiers forced their way closer again. The humans didn't move. They were frozen, staring at the rift's glow. Because for the first time, they understood the truth. They weren't victims of an experiment. They weren't survivors. They were part of something ancient. And the ancient thing was waking up. Raylan felt the station tremble again as he stared at the dark rift glowing through the cracked walls, the purple light moving like a living flame. Malik and Lyra stood frozen beside him, the truth from Dr. Thorne's recording echoing through their minds. Humans were not just survivors, they were keys to something ancient, something waiting to enter their universe. The air grew colder, and the hum of the rift grew louder, as if sensing their fear. Before Raylan could speak, the AI's voice cut through the silence, sharp and urgent, warning. Multiple hunter ships entering docking zone. Galactic Council enforcement units detected. Lyra's eyes widened. Hunter ships? They sent hunters for us? Raylan's voice was low and tight. The Council thinks we're a threat. They won't take chances. Malik stepped back from the console. We have to hide. We can't fight hunter units. But even as he spoke, the energy inside him pulsed, as if disagreeing. Raylan turned toward the exit. We move. Now. They slipped out of the hidden chamber and into the dark hallway again, but the vibration of heavy footsteps and the metallic sound of weapons charging echoed through the ductwork above them, fast, aggressive, and everywhere. The hunter units were spreading through the station like shadows with guns. Raylan led the group through a narrow maintenance shaft, but suddenly the AI spoke again. Alert! Hunter units approaching from 3 directions. Lyra whispered, they're surrounding us. Raylan clenched his jaw. We don't stop. But Malik swallowed hard. Raylan, they're not coming to capture us. Hunter units are trained to kill. The lights flickered as the station shook, and purple energy crackled around the ceiling pipes, reacting to the humans' rising fear. As they reached the end of the shaft, they emerged into a large observation chamber overlooking the rift. The room was empty except for broken screens and floating dust. The rift outside pulsed with a deep, slow rhythm, like a heartbeat syncing with their own. Lyra suddenly grabbed Raylan's arm. Do you feel that? It's stronger now. Raylan nodded. It's reacting to the hunters. Malik shook his head. No, it's reacting to us being in danger. Then the heavy doors behind them burst open, and armored hunter soldiers rushed into the room, their armor glowing with sharp blue lines. They moved with precise, deadly steps, weapons raised and ready. The commander spoke through a speaker helmet, his voice cold and metallic. Human subjects, stand down immediately. You are infected with dark resonance. You are classified as unstable. Raylan raised his hand slowly. We don't want to hurt anyone. The commander ignored him. Subject Malik. You have discharged uncontrolled energy twice. You are a Class A threat. Neutralization authorized. Malik's face drained of color. They're going to kill us. Raylan stepped in front of him. Stop. Listen to me, but before he could finish, the hunters fired. Blue plasma streaked across the room like lightning. Lyra screamed and threw her hands up, and a round, shimmering shield of dark energy burst out from her palms. The plasma fire hit the shield and splashed across its surface like water hitting glass. The hunters froze for a split second, shocked. Energy manipulation confirmed. Subjects are hostile. Raylan shouted over the noise, we're not hostile. You're forcing us to defend ourselves. But the hunters didn't care. They fired again, harder. The shield shook, cracks of purple lightning snapping across it. Lyra gritted her teeth. I can't hold it much longer. Malik stepped beside her, raising his hands, trying to help. The energy inside him boiled like a storm, and suddenly a wave of dark power exploded from him, pushing the hunters back. Several of them slammed into the wall. Malik gasped for breath, terrified. I'm not doing this on purpose. Raylan felt the energy inside him rising too, responding to their fear, their anger, their desperation. The commander recovered quickly and shouted, "Activate suppression field." The hunters threw metal rods into the floor, and a blue dome began forming, spreading toward the humans like a trap. Raylan's blood turned cold. That field would disable them instantly. Malik shouted, "Raylan, run." But Raylan didn't run. He stepped forward and let the energy rise fully for the first time. His vision darkened around the edges, and purple light wrapped around his hands like fire. The commander aimed right at Raylan's heart. "Do not move." Raylan didn't listen. He thrust his hand out, and a bolt of dark energy shot forward, not as a weapon but as a pulse of force that shattered the floor between the humans and the hunters. The ground cracked open, splitting the room into two sections. The hunters stumbled back as debris fell. The suppression field collapsed before activating. Lyra grabbed Raylan's arm. "We have to go, now." They ran through the broken doorway on the opposite side of the room as the hunters regrouped. The station AI guided them with flickering lights. "Follow the corridor ahead. Life support failing in outer ring. Hunter units slowed by environmental hazard." Malik breathed hard. "The station is helping us again." Raylan didn't answer. He could feel the rift pulsing stronger than ever behind them. The energy was calling. Guiding. Pushing them toward something. As they disappeared into the dark corridor, the rift outside flashed with a blinding purple light, sending a shockwave through the station. The hunters staggered. The walls trembled. And Raylan realized something terrifying. The rift wasn't just responding to their fear. It was preparing for them. Preparing for the moment the humans would stand at its edge and open the way. Raylan ran through the dark corridor with Malik and Lyra close behind him, the station shaking violently as the rift pulsed again like a giant heart waking from sleep. The lights above flickered, turning from white to deep purple for short moments, as if the entire facility was sinking with the dark energy. Heavy footsteps echoed behind them, telling Raylan the hunters were recovering and chasing again. Malik clutched his chest, breathing hard. "Raylan, where are we going?" Raylan didn't slow down. "To the core. The AI is leading us." Lyra glanced at the trembling walls. "But what if the AI is wrong? What if it wants to use us?" Raylan shook his head. "If it wanted us dead, it would have let the hunters catch us." The station suddenly tilted, almost throwing them off their feet, and a deep alarm echoed through the metal halls. The AI's voice came through the speakers, calm but urgent. "Warning. Dark energy spread has reached 42% of station structure. Containment failing. Proceed to primary control nexus." Malik shouted, "Great. The whole place is falling apart." They passed through a large windowed tunnel, and the sight outside made Lyra gasp. The dark rift was no longer a small tear, it had expanded, stretching across the void like a giant storm cloud of purple light. It twisted, swirling like it was alive, sending lightning-like veins into the space around it. Pieces of the station were beginning to break away, floating toward the rift as if pulled by invisible hands. Raylan stared at the massive anomaly. "It's growing faster, because of us." Malik swallowed hard. "We're like batteries for it." Lyra whispered, "Or triggers." But they had no time to think. The door behind them burst open, and hunter units poured in, firing blue plasma. Raylan pulled Lyra and Malik behind a support pillar as rounds exploded around them. One shot hit the pillar and sent sharp metal fragments flying. Malik cried out in pain as a piece cut his arm, leaving a streak of glowing purple where the blood touched the energy-saturated air. Lyra grabbed his arm. "You okay?" Malik nodded, but fear filled his eyes. "Why is my blood glowing?" Raylan didn't answer. He could feel the same pressure inside himself, like something ancient and powerful was waking up, recognizing them, claiming them. The hunters moved closer, forming a semicircle. "Human subjects, surrender now," the commander's cold voice echoed. "You cannot escape." Raylan stepped out slightly, shouting, "We're not your enemies. The council lied to you." The commander raised his weapon. "You are infected. Your survival endangers the galaxy." Lyra whispered, "They won't listen." Raylan knew she was right. "Then we move." The AI suddenly spoke again, louder this time. "Attention. Emergency blast shutters closing." Before the hunters could react, huge metal doors above the window tunnel slammed downward like guillotines. One shutter hit the floor right between the humans and the hunters, cutting off pursuit. The hunters hammered against it on the other side, their weapons firing uselessly. Raylan turned toward the AI speaker. "Why are you helping us?" The AI replied, "Directive priority updated. Protect human subjects." Malik frowned. "Updated by who?" The AI didn't answer, which made the silence heavier than anything before. They continued deeper into the station, passing through areas that looked completely abandoned, floating tools, flickering screens, broken pipes leaking dark mist. The mist curled toward them like curious fingers, but never touched them. It avoided them, almost respecting them. Finally, they reached the primary control nexus, a massive circular chamber with a transparent dome above. Through the dome, they could see the full shape of the rift, now a swirling vortex reaching toward the station like a hungry eye. The room was filled with glowing consoles, all flashing warnings. Lyra stepped toward a console. "This place, it's like the brain of the station." Malik said, "Can we shut down the rift from here?" The AI answered, "Negative. Dark energy cannot be shut down. It can only be guided." Raylan frowned. "Guided where?" "Toward its chosen anchors," the AI said. "Toward you." Malik stumbled back, shaking his head. No, we didn't choose anything." Lyra whispered, "Maybe the energy chose us." Raylan felt a deep pressure pulling him toward the center of the room. A platform there began to glow with swirling purple patterns. The AI spoke again. "Human subjects, approach the resonance platform." Malik shouted, "Why? What does it want from us?" The AI replied, "Stabilization. Without you, the rift will expand uncontrollably and consume this system." Raylan stepped forward slowly. "And if we do this?" "You will survive," the AI said. "Everything else may not." Lyra stared at Raylan. "We can't trust it." Raylan looked at. Raylan felt the rumble of the collapsing hallway behind them as he, Lyra, and Malik ran deeper into the inner core of the station. The purple glow from the rift flickered through the cracks in the walls like lightning crawling across stone. The station's AI guided them with flickering lights, but even its voice trembled now. "Warning, structural integrity compromised. The rift surge is destabilizing quantum layers." Lyra grabbed Raylan's arm tightly. "The rift is growing. I can feel it like a heartbeat in my mind." Malik nodded shakily, his breath ragged. "It's calling to us. Not like before, this time it feels urgent." Raylan didn't want to admit it, but he felt the same pull. Something inside the rift wanted them to come closer. Not to kill them. To join with them. They reached a circular chamber with massive doors sealed shut by old mechanical locks. The room shook again as another shockwave moved through the station, sending dust falling from above. The AI spoke, voice fading in and out. "These doors lead to the resonance core, the main control of the experiment." Raylan placed his hand on the door, and the purple energy within him reacted instantly. The locks glowed, snapped, and fell apart as if they had been waiting for his touch. Malik stared with wide eyes. "Raylan, it's like the station recognizes you. Like it knows your energy." Raylan pushed the door open, and they stepped inside. The resonance core stretched before them, a huge cylindrical room filled with floating platforms and ancient alien machines. At the center of it all was a massive crystal-like structure, cracked and glowing with swirling dark light. It hummed as if aware of their presence. Lyra whispered, "This is where it all started. The place where they tried to use dark energy, the place where everything went wrong." Malik stepped closer to the crystal but stopped when its glow intensified. "It's reacting to us. Should we even be near it?" Raylan stared at the swirling light inside the crystal. "We need answers. And this thing might be the only one that can give them." Before they could move further, a metallic clang echoed across the chamber. Hunter units entered from the opposite doorway, weapons drawn and glowing. The commander's voice boomed. "Human subjects, you are hereby ordered to surrender. The experiment must not advance further." Raylan turned to face them, energy rising in his chest. "Stop chasing us. The experiment already advanced. We are past the point of control." The commander ignored him. "Radiation levels inside this chamber exceed tolerance. You risk opening the rift completely." Raylan shouted, "Then help us stop it." But the commander raised his weapon. "We do not negotiate with unstable subjects." Malik groaned. "Why do they keep calling us unstable? They're the ones shooting." The hunters fired again, blue plasma streaking toward them. Lyra reacted instantly, raising her hand to form a shield, but the crystal behind her pulsed with a deep hum. The dark energy around them surged like a wave and wrapped around her shield, strengthening it. The plasma fire bounced harmlessly off. The hunters hesitated at this strange reaction. Raylan felt something tug at his mind, like a whisper from the crystal. It wasn't words. It was guidance. A direction. A purpose. "Raylan," Lyra whispered. "Something's linking with us." Raylan nodded slowly. "It's the crystal. It's using our energy, or maybe we're using its." Malik shouted, "Whatever it is, use it." "They're coming again." The hunters charged forward, but before they could fire, the crystal unleashed a silent blast of purple light. The room shook, the platforms trembled, and a wave of energy rushed outward. Raylan braced himself, expecting pain, but the wave passed through the humans harmlessly. The hunters, however, collapsed instantly, their armor shutting down as if cut from power. The commander tried to rise but fell again, his weapon smoking. Dark, resonance, interference, impossible. Lyra stared at the fallen hunters, stunned. "It didn't hurt us. It only affected them." Malik whispered, "The rift doesn't see us as enemies." Raylan stepped forward, closer to the glowing crystal. "The rift sees us as part of it." As he moved closer, the crystal's inner light began swirling faster. Voices, not human voices, but echoes, filled the resonance core. Lyra clutched her head. "It's speaking to us. Not in language, in emotion." Malik pressed his hands to his temples. "It's showing me something, a door, a world made of shadows and light. It wants to open." Raylan breathed deeply, trying to steady himself. "It wants us to open the rift fully. Not by accident. By choice." The AI crackled to life overhead, struggling to stay online. "Warning, rift surge approaching critical threshold. If stabilization fails, the doorway will open permanently." The crystal pulsed again, and the chamber lights dimmed to almost darkness. Only the purple glow remained. Lyra whispered fearfully, "Raylan, if we open it, what comes through?" Raylan stared into the swirling darkness inside the crystal, feeling something ancient staring back. He didn't know if it was alive or a force beyond understanding. But he knew one thing, the rift hadn't chosen them because they were strong. It had chosen them because they were human. Because humans could survive what others could not. Because humans were the only ones who could open the door, and the only ones who might control what walked out of it. And as the chamber began to collapse around them and the rift screamed with power, Raylan realized their real test hadn't even begun. Raylan stood before the massive crystal as the resonance core shook violently around him, metal groaning and platforms trembling under the pressure of the rising rift energy. Malik and Lyra stayed close behind, each one feeling the same overpowering pull from the swirling dark light inside the crystal. The hunters lay unconscious across the broken platforms, unable to resist the energy wave that had swept through the chamber earlier. The AI's voice cracked through failing speakers above them. Warning, rift surge approaching, total breach, all life forms evaluate immediately, but Raylan knew there was no escape anymore. The rift wanted them. The crystal wanted them. And whatever waited on the other side was pushing harder with every second. Lyra spoke shakily, Raylan, if we open this thing fully, we might not come back. Malik swallowed hard. We might not even survive the process. Raylan looked at both of them. We're the only ones who survived the first contact. Whatever dark energy is inside this rift, it connects with humans. The aliens died because they fought it. We lived because we adapted. The ground cracked beneath their feet, sending a beam of purple lightning upward toward the shattered ceiling. The rift's heartbeat grew louder, faster, echoing inside their minds. Raylan approached the crystal step by step until he was close enough to feel its heat. The swirling energy inside shifted and formed shapes, shadows moving like living smoke, watching him from the other side. Lyra gasped. It's aware of us. Malik whispered, it wants guidance. Raylan placed his hand on the crystal, and the entire chamber exploded with light. He felt the energy pierce into him, not painfully but like a flood of memories that were not his own. Visions exploded behind his eyes, alien armies discovering the rift, their failed attempts to control it, their terror when the energy turned on them, and finally the humans rising from the darkness of that first experiment, glowing with the same power that had killed everyone else. He saw something else too, a world beyond the rift, a place of endless shifting shapes, a realm made of gravity and energy and thought. It was not a planet or a place. It was alive. The rift itself was alive. And it had been searching for minds it could touch without destroying. It had found only humans. Raylan pulled his hand away, gasping. Lyra rushed forward. What did you see? Raylan's voice was low and steady. The rift isn't evil. It's not trying to invade. It's trying to evolve. It wants to merge with us, and it thinks we're the next step. Malik stared at the glowing crystal. Merge? What does that even mean? Before Raylan could answer, the hunters began to regain consciousness. The commander, struggling but determined, raised his damaged weapon. You cannot allow the breach. The rift will consume our universe, Raylan shouted. No. You don't understand, but the commander fired. The plasma shot ripped across the room, missing Raylan by inches. Malik reacted instinctively, launching a wave of dark energy at the commander, sending him sliding across the platform again. Lyra turned angrily. They won't stop. They don't care about truth, only control. Raylan looked at the crystal again. We don't have time to argue. If we don't stabilize the rift, it'll open violently. That will destroy everything. Malik's eyes widened. So you're saying, we need to open it safely? Raylan nodded. We need to choose to open it. That's the only way we control what happens. The crystal pulsed, glowing brighter, bathing the chamber in deep purple light. The rift outside surged in response, tearing open more of the station structure. Lyra stepped beside Raylan, placing her hand on the crystal too. Malik hesitated only a second before placing his hand next to theirs. Instantly the crystal responded. A shockwave burst outward, but instead of knocking them down, it wrapped around them like a shield. The resonance core began to dissolve into floating pieces, as if gravity itself no longer worked. Time slowed. Sound vanished. The energy inside the crystal flowed into their hands, up their arms, into their minds. Raylan felt their thoughts connect, his, Lyra's, Malik's, merging into one stream of awareness. They could feel each other's fear, strength, doubts, and hope all at once. The rift expanded with a soundless roar, and beyond it they saw the shifting world again, alive, waiting. A voice, not heard but felt, whispered through their shared mind. Open. Lyra trembled but didn't pull away. Raylan, Once we do this, there is no turning back. Malik gritted his teeth. We either save the universe or destroy it. Great choices. Raylan steadied himself. We survive dark energy. We adapt to it. That's why we're here. That's why only humans were chosen. With all their hands pressed against the crystal, Raylan focused on the connection, guiding the energy instead of resisting it. The crystal cracked open, releasing a river of purple light that shot straight into the rift. The doorway widened, stabilizing instead of exploding. The hunters watched from the ground in stunned silence as the humans glowed with the same dark light as the rift. Raylan felt the world on the other side draw closer, like a giant eye opening. The final moment arrived. Lyra whispered, "This is it." Malik whispered, "Let's hope the universe likes what comes next." And Raylan spoke the last words before everything changed. Open the rift. The rift expanded violently, a swirling vortex of purple and black light that filled the entire resonance core, but Raylan, Lyra, and Malik stood firm, their hands pressed to the crystal as energy coursed through them like rivers of fire and ice at the same time. The hunters lay frozen on the cracked floors, weapons useless, armor failing under the force that seemed to flow from the humans rather than the crystal. And for the first time Raylan realized that the rift did not see them as enemies, it saw them as the key, the bridge, the chosen ones to guide the doorway safely. The station shook, alarms screaming and panels exploding, metal tearing apart, yet the humans remained unharmed, their glowing forms casting shadows across the broken chamber walls. Lyra gasped as shapes began to appear within the vortex, strange figures of light and shadow twisting and shifting as if alive, not attacking, only observing. Malik's voice trembled. "Raylan, they're not coming to hurt us, are they?" Raylan shook his head, focusing on the surge inside him, feeling the minds of Lyra and Malik merge with his own, their fears and courage intertwining into one shared resolve. "No," he whispered, "they're waiting, we guide this doorway." The purple energy surged faster, wrapping around their bodies, pulling them slightly off the ground, yet there was no pain, only a strange clarity, a sense of understanding that went beyond thought or words. Outside the rift, the universe seemed to hold its breath, stars blinking as if watching the humans carefully, and the whispers they had heard before now became clear, not in words, but in feelings. You are the bridge. You are the way. You survive, you lead. Raylan realized they were not opening a door blindly, they were negotiating, not with enemies, but with something ancient and intelligent, a force older than galaxies, and it was trusting them. The crystal pulsed one final time, brighter than the sun, and the vortex stretched wider, revealing a universe unlike anything they had imagined, a sky of shifting colors, impossible floating islands of light, streams of energy flowing like rivers through the void, and strange beings that moved gracefully, neither hostile nor entirely comprehensible. Malik swallowed hard. "It's beautiful," Lyra's voice trembled with awe. "And we're actually going there?" Raylan nodded, feeling the power of the dark energy inside him stabilize, respond, and flow with them instead of against them. "Yes, we're the first humans to step into a new universe, chosen for a reason we can barely understand." The air around them shimmered, and the energy of the rift wrapped around their minds, offering visions, planets teeming with light, civilizations rising and falling, knowledge beyond anything humans had dreamed of, and a message clear in every vision: survive. Adapt. Lead. Raylan's heart pounded with both fear and determination. We do this together. We survive. We adapt. We lead. The crystal shattered, releasing one final wave of energy that expanded outward, knocking the last remaining hunter units to the floor, their armor smoking, and sealing the station in a protective bubble that kept them safe from the destruction of the resonance core. The rift's light enveloped the humans completely, and they felt themselves lifted beyond the station, beyond space, as if gravity and time no longer mattered. They were flying, not in a ship, but as part of the energy itself, merged with the rift, and as they passed through the swirling vortex, the universe on the other side became real, tangible, and breathtaking. Lyra gasped again, we can see it all." Malik laughed nervously, tears in his eyes. "We survived. We actually survived everything, and we're still alive." Raylan held his breath, feeling the strange presence inside the rift settle around them, guiding them toward a floating platform of pure light that seemed to pulse in rhythm with their own hearts. The beings they had glimpsed earlier appeared near the edges of the platform, watching silently, acknowledging them without words, and Raylan understood this was not a confrontation. It was a meeting. An invitation. A chance to begin anew. "We did it," Lyra whispered softly. "We opened the way, and we're not destroyed." Raylan smiled faintly, exhaustion and awe flooding him. "We didn't just survive, we're chosen. And whatever comes next, we lead the way." The platform moved forward slowly into the new universe, carrying the humans across streams of energy and islands of light, past shifting colors and impossible structures, and Raylan felt something he could not name, a mix of hope, fear, and power. The AI's voice, now fully integrated with the rift energy, spoke calmly. Human subjects stabilized. Connection complete. Future trajectory uncertain. Guidance available. Malik laughed again, this time with genuine relief. "We're alive, and we're leading, can you believe it?" Lyra looked at Raylan, glowing in the energy light, and whispered, "The universe, it's ours to explore. We survived dark energy, we survived everything, and now, we lead." Raylan nodded, staring forward as the first steps into the new universe unfolded before them, a place alive, aware, and waiting for humans to carve their place. And as they moved forward together, he knew that the galaxy they had left behind would never understand what they had become, but it didn't matter. They were humans. They survived what no one else could. They adapted to forces older than stars. They led because they had no choice. And in that moment, stepping into the unknown, surrounded by living light and endless possibilities, Raylan realized that humanity had truly begun its next chapter. The rift pulsed one last time, not as a threat, but as a promise. And the three humans stepped forward into the universe beyond, chosen, alive, and unstoppable.